img_0159.mov. I have never looked at that video on my cell phone. As soon as I received that video via email, I downloaded it to this laptop, which is the evidentiary laptop we've been using through the duration of this trial. This is a Lenovo. And I relabeled it after it had been brought into evidence as Exhibit 73 because it was Exhibit 73 for bringing it up, showing it to the jury. After found in Friday that there was this discrepancy after the video is being shown, and for the record, we did not buy that TV because of this drone video. We actually brought it in for John Black's slowed down testimony. That was the reason we brought this TV in. However, when we were in court, I played Exhibit 73 on my computer because the state's computer wasn't here. ADA Krause was the one who brought up the fact this is a good quality video. We didn't realize until playing them side by side, mine and then the state's, that there was any difference in quality. That was Friday. After Friday happened, I emailed both Binger and ADA Krause, and I asked for an exact forensic copy of what they had given to the state crime lab. ADA Krause responded to me, forwarded me the email he's talking about to Detective Howard, and that also contained one file named as img_0159.mov that was a megabyte file. Simultaneously, ADA Binger had been in contact with me, told me I could come pick up the file from a flash drive. I drove here, I had him take me inside, and I confirmed this file that he said was directly provided to the state crime lab was an 11 megabyte file, not 4. So the information contained in the flash drive was over double the size, or 3 times the size as to what was emailed to me. When ADA Krause followed up to me with that email, forwarded me his email from Detective Howard, it was the same 4 megabyte file that I had gotten previously.
Clearly, you was compressing these files. That's not our responsibility. Oh, I didn't write out the software.
You know what?
I forwarded.
But wait, I don't know if she had finished.
Every other piece of evidence from the state crime lab in this situation has been provided to us via Dropbox. Dropbox provides an exact forensic copy of what they have. The file title name in this situation should have been exactly the same as the one provided to the state if it was the exact same copy. The file name, or the one that was provided to the state crime lab, that Attorney Binger gave me a copy on Saturday, had a very long, convoluted title that involves lots of letters and numbers that are the type that are usually associated with files taken from a drone, because they indicate a lot of different information, like the location of the drone and the time. The file I received originally on Friday the 5th was not labeled that same, was not the same file amount. There's no way that what ADA Krause is saying is true, because the file name would not have changed if my computer was compressing anything. It was a different file that we were provided from what was provided to the state, at least for what Attorney Binger gave me on Saturday. They're completely different.
I think we're confusing the issue here. The work product of the state crime lab is sent via Dropbox. That's how they've submitted all the videos that they worked on and the photos they worked on. The email from my personal Gmail account is the file that went to the state crime lab. I was told to bring it to the state crime lab. I was already home on Saturday. I did not have access to anything but my computer. I had Detective Howard email it to me, and I put it on a thumb drive at home, and I took it to the crime lab. I don't know if Mr. Binger somehow retitled it, but the image I gave the crime lab is on my phone as the title that she indicated. That was the one that went to the crime lab, and I will testify as an officer of the court. I take offense that what I'm saying is untrue. Clearly,
Well, we're gonna obviously we're going to have to take this testimony under oath, and we're going to have to get somebody to explain all this, who has some competence. Which,
if you look at the report from the state crime lab, they indicate the originating file that they received was the one with the expanded title that we did not receive until Saturday. If it had been the same file as 88 Kraus says it is, why wasn't that labeled on their receipt as being IMG 059 or 159?
Mr.
If that
Kraus,
is the exact same thing, that does not add up.
Mr. Kraus.
Why did he include in his report a different title?
Looking at the email, it is image0159.mov. When it's downloaded to the computer, perhaps it has a different title. On my phone and on email, image, I'm watching the video right now. At this point, the first time this was ever put on any kind of hard drive, I did it at my home. And here I'll save it to my computer and see if the title changes, but
We're going to do this. Pardon me?
I accidentally saved it 3 times because I was trying to re-download it multiple times, and it all saved it as IMG 0159.
Okay. Well, you know what? We can't resolve this now because this is going to require expert testimony from people, and we're going to have to take testimony under oath as what the facts are, and so that I'll reiterate my comment, which started this discussion, which was that given the cloudy picture about this particular exhibit, this is a high-risk strategy for the state. Busy about this from the beginning, and I'm only quizzier about it now.
Judge, what we propose is to show the jury the exhibits. I'm really not concerned about the issue. As I've said multiple times, I believe too much has been made of this image. Mr. Baird, we even mentioned his closing. We didn't show it in either our closing rebuttal. The other evidence was admitted without objection with a stipulation to authenticity, and believe it should be played. It's already been played for the jury, and they should be brought down, and we can put all the other exhibits on a thumb drive outside of 160, what is it? Outside of exhibit 155, which is the image that the court is received over objection. But the other exhibits were not objected to. And again, the defense, although a prior attorney, had access to this video 3 days after the incident. So to now claim that they're somehow prejudiced is preposterous. I understand it's previous counsel, but it's still the defendant's attorney. He was charged with this crime. And if Attorney Pierce turned something over that he seemingly brought to the Tucker Carlson show, that is also is not our responsibility.
Your Honor, can I briefly respond to that? Mr. Pierce was my client attorney. As Mr. Kraus said, Carlson purchased that video. That video is very different from the video that was delivered here in quality, color, We stipulated to the video based upon what they, we didn't see it as anything different. We were given.
I want to stop you now.
Okay.
Because why do you say that the one that Mr. Carlson bought, Tucker Carlson bought, is different from?
Black and white.
That was okay. Go ahead.
And we stipulated to that video when we looked at our copy because it didn't add anything except color. We didn't have the quality. And that's where this whole problem starts. And weren't aware of the quality until after the evidence had closed on Friday when we were here and it was plugged in as Miss Wisco was saying. That's when we found out there was a problem, what had been given to us versus what they had. That's when the whole problem comes up. So that's as to that video. The other one, and I'll say it because it's FBI material with all POI'd marked. That, when we're going over this list, it's come to my attention. I played that for the jury. It never got marked or moved in, even though it's been played.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you,
Can we
Judge.
put it in evidence now?
That's what I think would be the proper way to do it.
If the defense agrees that all the drone videos go back, we will agree that that should be
Can I
marked
run a
in
compromise?
evidence.
This isn't, let's make a deal here.
Well, they did not mark the evidence. They did not move it.
But it was played to the jury.
Yes, and not marked or moved.
I thought it was part of the hard drive because everything was going in.
I thought we gave them a full and complete copy of the video. So,
Well, I'm going to reopen the evidence and admit what they saw. Give it the next sequential number.
well,
How can I not give it to them? You tell me.
then I would ask that evidence that's been admitted also go to the jury. That has been legally admitted in front of the jury. And follow the proper procedure.
I let's take one thing at a time.
Your Honor, just for the record as well, there was an additional difference that we found in the metadata between the two videos, is that if it picked up from the file that we received from the state, is their create date is 11/5/2021 at 15/10/31. If you look at our video that we were provided, the metadata, the create time is 21 minutes and 19 seconds later.
I'm watching we're looking at the Tucker Carlson Pretty Pierce. It is not black and white. It is color. It actually does seem to be high definition. Like this video. We're watching. It's online. You can watch it. Has the real version.
What about that? If his private attorney, he's got it.
I don't know. They said that Tucker Carlson bought it. And that's what goes to this whole thing, this urban air. We sent out an investigator to interview the owner of Urban Air to try and get this video. And I can get the report. I don't have it with me. And the individual lives out in the Lake Geneva area. And he lied to our investigators and said, we are mistaken that the drone permit wasn't for this video. And now it's come from his company. He shut down his company 17 days after this video was released. We've tried to get this video, and then it shows up on the Friday after the trial has started. And it's dropped off by his employee, not the person who we interviewed who owned the company.
I don't know who was interviewed. I believe that is the owner Mr. Beeman? Oh. Okay.
I'm shaking my no. I answered no. It was the Carlson question. I apologize.
Well, this is number 5, and they say, please prepare. And then it lists these things, and then it says, we will request when ready, and they haven't followed up. So I'm playing short. Maybe the ball won't come to me.
So, well, if we're moving on, at least for the moment, So number 4.
Yeah.
So it says view video, but I believe it's actually 3 videos.
I did not hear you, sir.
It asks for a video, but I believe they're actually asking for 3 videos, and I think we agree on this. That it asks view video starting with Mr. Grosskreuz's interview with Mr. Rittenhouse. That is Exhibit 3. It's also duplicated as Exhibit 57. That is the live stream that Mr. Grosskreutz took that night. That does not actually depict the second incident. It does. You can hear the shots, but then it asks to 10 seconds after Mr. Grosskreutz shooting. I believe that's what's referred to as the BG on the scene video, which is number 5. And then it indicates in regular and slow motion. The only slow motion of that incident is the BG on the scene video, and that was the one that Dr. Black created and played. That was moved and admitted. It does not formally have a number because it's on a drive. We do not object to it being given a number and sent back, or played however the court deems appropriate. So we would ask that. So I believe there's 3 exhibits they're requesting. The state does not object to them having access. However, it is deemed appropriate to those exhibits.
All right. So, and that's by agreement. And then the question is where and what restrictions will be put on their use of those videos.
The state's position is that they should be given the exhibits or told what numbers they are. The courtroom should be cleared. They should watch them on the monitors they've been watching the whole case on. And that can be set up, and then everyone can leave and they can discuss it. Now it says
all by themselves or
by themselves.
Okay.
It just says
I assume that somebody has got the technical ability to trigger playing of the videos.
That's a fairly simple process. They can be given a computer with you just plug it into the side and then they can just press the thing. If there's
computer, it doesn't have other matter on it.
We have, I believe our computer, if it doesn't have anything else in this case, it may have like Microsoft Word or something on it, but there's other evidence in this case on it. It's not my computer. We have some standalone laptops to do this type of thing.
What's the defense position?
But I don't have an answer because it wasn't in any of these cases. Is there any right, if we're doing it in court, is there any right for Mr. Rittenhouse to be present?
More than if they had paper exhibits and they were discussing them. It's certainly they can't be in the room while they're talking about them.
Well, I agree with
that.
The
video different.
Well, if you clear the room and say this is now the jury deliberate room, which is what they've asked.
I want to go back to Steph. Supposing I said, well, let's just get a computer that has nothing else on it or that is everybody feels it's sufficiently scary. And let's put these exhibits on a flash drive or download them onto the computer or whatever. And then send that upstairs. Let them do it just like they would if they were paper exhibits, and they can play it, discuss it as much as they want. Now, I'm right now only about question number 4 because there's other issues with respect to question number 5, and fortunately, they're not here yet because they haven't requested it. But this would be a departure from the Anderson case for sure. That would not be incompatible with what they did in the flood case. Who's okay with that?
I'm sorry.
Who's okay with that?
Because based on what you said, so we're not waiving anything on,
We're not-
and that's okay for.
Okay, now we need to get clean together. Uh, you see, on my bill, Mr. Ross? One of those? Look at it. Well, I'm gonna go do something else. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna stay and do something else. And I'll let you fellas try to work this up. And
Just requested what we're fighting.
you are right.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I think that's it, y'all. Yeah, it looked like they paused the video. I got an article I'm gonna read to y'all. Okay, so pause that for y'all. But I got an article I'm gonna read to y'all that explain what just took place. I apologize for the poor audio quality. I know I've been having some video quality issues, and that's directly related to StreamYard, and we talked about that, but that audio, I think the audio quality was poor because they went straight to audio very quickly. So they went to audio very quickly because they wanted to get this out. Now, I actually heard about this last night. I was doing my research. I was doing some research and I actually heard about this last night. I think I'm gonna bring up that video. The video quality has been so poor lately, so it's tough to do. I would like to bring up the video because I like video, but I heard about this last night, and I was doing some research, and I came across a fellow YouTuber, and he was drinking on some good scotch, and I'm like, who is this guy drinking on this good scotch? You know what I'm saying? He's drinking on some good scotch. Now, it's funny though. I came across a couple panels. I came across the Art New Star panel. Now, the other night we chopped up the Art New Star panel and we came to we had a great panel, fire panel, man. Thank all the brothers. Like we chopped up the bullshit that was going on the Art New Star panel, all the cussing, all the yelling, the accusations, the dry snitching and everything, and the lack of clarity and the lack of action items. It's so funny. Like after you have that conversation that night, then on the other side of the spectrum, you have a following conversation, and these guys, not truly on the other side, claiming to be the appearance of being on the other side of the spectrum, where these guys are trying to have a introspective conversation, similar to the conversation that we have on the Perfect Man Show. But the only thing is that it's all this similar group thing. Everybody's in congruencies, nobody giving pushback. And then it's this thing that black men do when they get in this echo chamber and everybody's just, slapping each other on the back like, hey, we're smart. And if anybody disagree with us, you're not smart. If anybody disagree with us, you're not well read. And it's like, but that's actually not true, bro. Because if you just go to any non-white content creator who may be a lawyer or a judge, they have opposite compelling opinions to most black. And I don't understand why black people are the black men in this sector. This seems so like Negro. It's a very Negro mind state. You know what I'm saying? Why are they jumping to crucify Kyle? And it was like Faulkner and the man was on there, even though Faulkner and the man was arguing the night before. But everybody on there talking about Kyle is a white supremacist, and even on my panel yesterday, I said it doesn't matter if he's racist. It doesn't matter if he has biases. It's America. We all have biases. Some of us don't like certain people. You know what I'm saying? Some of us don't want to date certain. It's all type of gender bias, racial bias. That's what America is built on. But to act like that night he instituted his bias, and then the shit got real convoluted into pigs in space. Some old pigs in space spooky shit. Where Kyle potentially was at 17, 16-year-old, he was some type of ploy or plot for white supremacists, and he killed white people on purpose to actually, he wanted to get at Black Lives Matter, so he killed white people. I mean, come on, man. What the fuck, man? We got to do better, y'all. So, I mean, so everybody, and I was like, I know a lot of people say, because I bitch and complain about my channel's growth, right? So people who love me say, oh, you got to go on.
I think 18.
Oh, they back.
He never even entered the building. He was a lookout, and the defense attorney stood right down there and said, the intent does not transfer from one person to another. And then the judge correctly read the instruction. It's called transferred intent, and he's guilty of any act which is a natural, probable, unusual consequence of the armed robbery. And that concluded the murder. And so Mr. Franklin was convicted of first-degree murder. Judge Morton, who was a wonderful man, who had a heart of gold, and who knew the law, granted judgment and life and commented that he hoped the case got reversed. And it was reversed for a different reason. They discussed that statement that you're talking about, a tape recorded statement. This was in 1974, as I recollect, right on the heels of Watergate. Rosemary Woods erased 14 minutes of President Nixon's behavior. And he lost his job. And so this was a big deal. And so the Supreme Court mentioned about the protection of the tape. That's not an issue. You're correct. They also talk about exaggerating some aspects of the state, I should say, totally, that on 75th Street, that happened more recently. What was the name of the Flint. I admitted that because I said, no, those rules don't apply because this is actually an image. These are images of the event occurring as opposed to a statement of the accused or a statement of a witness, which were the case of the Franklin and Anderson cases. And so I do feel that the rules to be derived from Anderson are not strictly applicable to the to footage from the actual event which is claimed to have been criminal. So it's not just that one case, there have been other cases that I have admitted these videos and let the jury play them. I complain about the case of, well, I don't remember the name. He was convicted of attempted murder of a police officer. Well, actually, I think of reckless endangerment or something, but because of video footage that they had to come down here and watch a tiny computer, and we had to bring them down 3 at a time so we could let them see it. I think that's so outrageous. I have to be aware. You want me to kind of just let them have what they gather, what you say, although actually most of the time your office has come in here and told me, no, judge, don't risk our case. So don't send this. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Tell me.
Judge, I do not believe Anderson applies directly. I believe that because it is of all these requests are of the incidents themselves, that I believe the jury should be able to watch them as they see fit, watch them, pausing them, rewatching them, watching them in any way they see fit, in any configuration they see fit. I believe that the Franklin and Anderson cases, I understand how someone's statement, a videotape statement, could be overemphasized. I do not see how videotapes of an incident could be overemphasized or looked at too much. And really, that's what this whole trial has been. While there's been lots of testimony, almost everything testified to is on video. So to me, I believe it is clear that given that it's a videotape of the incident, they should be able to view it as they see fit. Now, Anderson, again, of a statement says it should be an open court. That certainly can be done. The jury may feel uncomfortable, obviously. So I think if the court makes specific findings as to why it's appropriate in this case to send it back, we could send it, or actually what I would propose is courtroom, the jury room, clearing out the courtroom, checking for any recording declarations. We can either give them all the exhibits and extract them only what that are allowed, or we can put them on a separate drive, the exhibits that they've requested or that they'll be allowed to see, and they can essentially have access to all the screens here and they can play it and do it as they see fit. Now, with this distinction of it being the incident itself, if the court makes findings of why it's appropriate, the state believes that it will survive any scrutiny on that issue if there is any kind of guilty verdict.
Well, you're suggesting an abandonment of the insulting precedent of the last hundreds of years that the jury might overemphasize some aspect of the exhibit. He says it should be played only once if it's played at all.
Look like I froze, man. This video is horrible, man. Let's go to the article, man. I'm doing my best here, man. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I don't know. Look like I froze, man. This video is horrible. Okay. I got the cell phone in the back because I'm checking on it to make sure it sounds the quality. First, the audio quality is poor because the the court's quality is poor, but then now it's freezing on me. So let's go to this. I got something else I want to show you guys. So again, I was doing my little intro before that audio came back. So I was talking about the art the stall panel last night, and I was listening to the art the stall panel last night. Now the night before they was on the panel capping, cussing, whole bunch of capping, alcohol, and dry snitching. But last night there's all this group think about Kyle being a white supremacist and Kyle being guilty and and I just was like, a lot of people have said, Dennis, to grow the platform, you need to join panels. And initially, I was going to join a panel, and I've been on art panel a couple times, and I've destroyed the panel on a teacher debate. I destroyed the panel on the Bill Cosby debate. Art himself is an educator, but they didn't know that Bill Cosby was actually a PhD. He used Fat Albert for his dissertation. So it's a lot of confusion on that panel a lot of time because it's a lot of smart, dumb niggas who think they smart, who like to sound smart, which is unfortunate, right? Everybody's in agreement. Everybody's saying, if you don't think Kyle's a white supremacist, then you're an idiot. And I'm like, I'm not going to join this panel because I'm not in the mood to be cussing and being cussed out. And it's obvious ignorance, right? Because I don't know why black men do this to themselves in this echo chamber. But if you just went 2 steps away from these ignorant black men, then you could see some intelligent opinions. And last night, I heard about the dismissal because I was searching around and I seen a white brother drinking on some good scotch who happened to be a lawyer, who know lawyers and judges. He's sitting in his room. He got hundreds of thousands of followers. He had $1 million. He said, it's a few reasons God brought me over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a lot of white brothers in the chat the other day, and I got another brother who was from a brother that was from Persia, but his wife is black, and he talked about mixed race kids. I'm like, bro, you don't got to explain. So this brother, it's a couple of reasons God brought me over there. So God brought me over there because, for different perspectives, you got to have an open mind. So I like Scotch. I'm learning about Scotch, and I'm learning about the case. So I listen and I learn about the case. And guess what I hear last night already before this, what you just saw, that the dismissal that you just saw on video, that briefing had been prepared and submitted already. So this brother already had the briefing and the dismissal last night. So, and one of the other things, so 2 things. I learned about the dismissal last night, having an open mind. And I also learned about the fact that this brother had got his first 1 million views from a live panel. He said he got his most highest video was like 700,000, right? His highest video was like 700,000. But then he said his most highest video where he got 1 million views was a live panel. And I'm like, man, this is great. And I want to just say props to Sir Ism, because Sir Ism like really pushed me to like do the live panels. So this dude was a YouTube content creator. I think he might be a lawyer or ex-lawyer or legal clerk, but he's a popular dude sitting back, sipping on his scotch. And he had his hands on the court on this morning's video that you just saw. So as you saw the poor audio, don't trip, because Perfect Timing already knew about what was going to happen, and I was just waiting to go live and to share this with you guys. So basically, let me share with you what's going on. And I kind of briefly went over this as we talked about the closing arguments the other day. So there was already a request for dismissal from the defense, right? So I'm not going to speak on that because I don't know about that as well as I know about this. But this is a separate dismissal, right? But within this dismissal, in this dismissal, they did speak to the other reasons why the case should be dismissed, because the case should have been dismissed and stopped by the judge. Remember when the judge got upset and he stopped Binger and he told Binger that you're bringing in evidence that I already ruled was inadmissible? Well, the Scotch drinking white brother said that he violated rights, his Fifth Amendment rights, because what you may have not understood is when that back and forth took place, the jury was in the courtroom. So at that point in time, there was grounds for dismissal because the the prosecutor knew he was losing, so he tried to play fast and loose, and he knew he had a judge that was keeping him within the guide rails, and he tried to bring in inadmissible evidence without the judge's permission. And that's when he was trying to defend himself by saying, Judge, I worked with you before, and I was unclear that you had made a final ruling, and the judge was pissed, saying I did make a final ruling. So number one, the case could have and should have been dismissed when they violated Kyle's First Amendment right the first time. Now, all the people on Art New Stall panel who's so smart didn't say shit about that. They just want to focus on the fact that some people died that night. And simply because black men go to jail when they kill people, they want this white man to go to jail because some people died that night, despite what privilege that he may have, even though in the case with the charges with Rosenbaum, and Officer Faulkner is a police officer. You can read the charges that he has privilege with Rosenbaum. Did that come up on the panel last night? No, all this patting on the back and all this shit. That's why I didn't join the panel, man. I don't want to be on the panel with that silly shit. What's up, she, man? So I heard about the dismissal last night. So the dismissal breaks down to this. The prosecutor basically withheld evidence. What do you mean, Perfect? How did the prosecutor, we're going to read the article here. The article here going to break down more in depth about what the poor video that we got from the court this morning was talking about. But the article going to break down more in depth the fact that the prosecution basically withheld evidence. So I told you the other day that the judge, one of the things that the judge did to keep this in the guide rails is that he's been making the prosecution provide expert witness testimony for everything that they want to bring in. What do you mean? So when they want to zoom on social media, number one, they pictures of private people like content creators like me and she's in the chat. So everybody got certain talents. I'm good on the phone. Some people are good on the mixing, on the editing. Some people are good on the camera. So you can sell your videos if you're good on your camera. You're good, like Quafinino. Quafinino is good on the camera. So he videotapes protests and stuff like this. So some people similar to I'm saying this because I'm trying to trigger men to get out there and find other avenues to generate revenue in this new world, in this new fourth industrial revolution. You know what I'm saying? So you could be videotaping as a creator. If you recognize that one of your talents, and we talked about finding your gift from God, that was my sermon on Sunday. Shout out to God. Bless everybody listening. Bless everybody watching. We could be anywhere. They bought the videos that we've seen. They purchased the videos from YouTube content creators exactly similar to me and she and Coffee. That's who provided. Did you guys know that? All the video that we see in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial was provided by YouTube content creators like ourselves. On the scene, on the spot, YouTube content creators who happened to go out to the Wisconsin protests, the one guy who actually testified in trial, who they probably had to pay to be there, who was being paid by a private media agency, was also in Seattle and was also at a couple Black Lives Matter protests where he was filming, and he puts this up on YouTube. He sells the information to the court, to the state, to the feds. He makes a lot of money simply filming as a YouTube content creator. I just want to make a sidebar and say that as we watch this, there's so much to intimate from this trial. As YouTube content creators, as Black men, as fathers, as Americans, as patriots, as intelligent people, bro. Just intelligent people with critical thinking that weigh all the aspects from all sides. So the prosecution had a possession of a video. The judge had already said simply to zoom, and the defense had a term called magic pixels. The term magic pixels comes from the fact that the judge made the prosecution bring in the expert and explain cell phone zooming and cell phone technology in pixels, because I said that we're in the Midwest where the highest ratio of poverty exists, and these white people, even though they're white, and you may have a certain fiction of white people, a lot of these white people in the Midwest are poor, and they can't afford a $1,500 iPhone. Everybody assume I don't have a $1,500 iPhone. Everybody assume that everybody has the access to a $1,500 iPhone. So the judge understood that. Shout out to Judge Schroeder. and Judge Schroeder made them present expert witnesses to explain pixel technology, the iPhone zoom, picture-in-picture, and what exactly the video was looking for, how the video was captured. That was part of why that young man was put on the stand, so that people could understand that an influencer, content creator, YouTuber was the one who did the filming, and that he may have some type of bias because he happened to go film at a lot of Black Lives Matter protests, specifically from a right-wing perspective, even though he said he didn't film from a right-wing perspective. So the prosecution purposely withheld high-quality video after the judge had made them show a expert witness. What do you mean, perfect? So the video, so check this out. And then YouTubers are the ones who expose it. Let's give it up for the YouTube community. Taylor Swift. Yeah, that was so stupid. Shout out to Taylor Swift in the chat, man. The YouTubers exposed it, man. This is a powerful thing, being a YouTube content creator. If you're good at, man, if you have a blessing by God, like I said, some of us are good on a microphone. Some of us are good on the camera. Some of us are good on the editing. She and brothers that complimented me on my thumbnail skills, on creating the thumbnails, my voice, on different things. So you can use these things in different aspects to feed your family and to push forward God's message. This brother was out here filming at different Black Lives Matter protests, and because he was doing that, people might have said he was this, he was that, but he provided video that may exonerate this young man who was out there defending people. So what did the prosecution do? The prosecution had a video, but they gave the defense a downgraded quality of the video. The video, when reviewed by YouTubers, turns out the video that was used in court was actually a mirror image off of a reflection. Yeah, man, it wasn't even the actual image, but a YouTuber with more technical ability and better equipment was able to bring higher resolution out of the video, and he saw that it was actually a reflection. The defense didn't even know that, man. The defense and the jury was looking at a poor quality video when, guess what? The prosecution had the better video the whole time. And did you hear what they said? They said it was black and white. The prosecution had full color, full high resolution video, and they gave the defense in evidence black and white to prohibit the defense from defending Kyle to their best ability. This ain't a joke, man. I mean, I'm laughing, but like Taylor Swift said, it was stupid. It was stupid. And think about what I'm saying. Think about who we are as YouTube content creators. Last night, the white brother exposed the dismissal, reading it, and then who actually unraveled the case? YouTube editors, YouTube content creators with great editing skills, great camera skills, great eyes, and from creating great video content, were able to unravel and then send information to the defense and tell the defense that, hey, you don't have the actual video. Can we give it up for the YouTube content creators? All the other brothers. We can't break down about racial lines, man. We got to give ourselves props. All of the brothers, all of the fathers, man. It don't matter what race you are. This is about American men. This is about fathers. This is about American sons. I have a 20-year-old son. Anybody got a 16-year-old son that you love? How can you think this way about Kyle if you love your country? Why you say mute? Is something wrong with my audio? What's wrong with my audio? My audio bad? Oh, man. What's wrong with my audio? Horrible, man. Let's go to the Is my audio doing my best. How did I get muted? She said mute. How did I get muted? Oh, she don't be playing like that in the chat. Cause I'm thinking I'm thinking something wrong with my audio. All right. She throwing me off, man. I was going in, man. I was going in, man. So let's go to the article. Let's go to the article. Rittenhouse defense team files motion for dismissal, alleging prosecution withheld key video evidence proving small video file. And we got a video on it. Ain't nothing really playing, man. I'm going to read. If it come on, we'll go back. Oh, it's the same video we was watching. It's the same video we was watching, man. All right. The Kyle Rittenhouse defense team Wednesday morning, November 17th, filed a motion for dismissal with prejudice, no chance for retrial. Y'all hear that? Dismissal for prejudice with no chance for retrial. Accusing the defense of holding back video evidence connected to the interaction of Kyle Rittenhouse with Joseph Rosenbaum, who had privilege to self-defense. There has been a he said, she said argument over the distance of Joseph Rosenbaum from Kyle Rittenhouse while Rosenbaum was chasing Rittenhouse just before Rittenhouse shot Rosenbaum, and whether Rosenbaum tried to grab the barrel of the rifle or swipe at the barrel of the rifle. The defense alleges the prosecution gave the defense team a 3.6 megabyte video, while the prosecutor made use of 11.2 megabyte video file allegedly. The larger file was not made available to the defense until after the closing arguments. God, dog, man. Perfect timing podcast. Perfect time, man. Let me get my thumbnail right there, man. Shout out CC. You get the thumbnail, man, because I be giving the thumbnails, man. Art install panel, man. Y'all sit the fuck down, man. Over here, man. Just slap each other on the back, man. Everybody just loving everybody, man. Everybody just everybody just, you talking about Egypt and Africa and all silly shit. Nobody talking about the facts of the case. Talk about the facts of the case. The reason why I showed this case was to show the contrast in the judicial system so we can start focusing on the facts of the case, so we can start holding the judicial system accountable when there's non-white people in the judicial system to be getting the same justice that Kyle got. Not to say that Kyle getting a special type of justice. Kyle is getting the right type of justice. Kyle is getting the justice that my son should get. Kyle was getting the justice that we all should get. I don't understand you, black men. What is you upset about? You don't want the type of justice that Kyle got? You don't want to judge like Judge Schroeder? Come on, man. Makes no sense to me, man. This group thing, this everybody get together, we all think the same thing. Do you see what the prosecution, and it's the same thing with the R. Kelly case, the same thing with the Bill Cosby case. It's the King Kong Kung Fu now used against this 17-year-old white male. Right? If they can prove his guilt, if Kyle is so definitively guilty, then why do this? Shout out to Taylor Swift in the chat. Taylor Swift, make sure you subscribe. I've been having a lot of new people come through supporting on the channel on this Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you so much for coming through. It means so much, man. Please subscribe to your guy, man. Make sure that you subscribe and support the channel. Go ahead and vote in the poll. I want to know, the poll is asking, do you believe the case should be dismissed? But don't forget what we first opened up with, that the case should have been dismissed when they violated Kyle's Fifth Amendment rights. Don't forget, they violated Kyle's Fifth Amendment rights. So there are people, as the panel last night on Art Stahl kept talking about how Kyle is a white supremacist and Kyle is so guilty, you missed the fact that the case should have been dismissed when the prosecution, Binger, violated Kyle's Fifth Amendment rights when he tried to play slick and loose and bring in evidence that the judge had already ruled was inadmissible, but you guys didn't realize that the jury in the courtroom. The jury was in the courtroom. The jury was in the courtroom. They had already violated. At that point in time, the case should have been thrown out. So there was already grounds for dismissal Before to the fact that the prosecution, beyond playing fast and loose, beyond not listening to what the judge Schroeder had already ruled on, the prosecution lied. The prosecution lied. The prosecution lied. The prosecution lied and withheld evidence. This ain't no TV show. This ain't no soap opera. This is a 16-year-old boy life. Who got a 16-year-old boy in the chat? Who got a 16-year-old? Who loved that in the chat? She want the link. Let me invite my brother. Who loved their son in the chat? Who got a 16-year-old in the chat? Who believe that this is railroading? Just like with R. Kelly, if they could prove that Kyle is guilty, why would they withhold evidence that could prove even further that Rosenbaum is going to attack and kill Kyle? Because that's the only reason they would withhold the video, that he already has privilege to Rosenbaum. Why does he have, what do you mean, Perfect, that Kyle has privilege to Rosenbaum? There are separate charges in the deaths and in the shootings. For the 26-year-old, he is being charged with first degree, right? He does not have privilege to self-defense. But in the case with Rosenbaum, who attacked him, who tried to grab the rifle, he is charged with second degree reckless, i.e. privilege. I.e. privilege, because Rosenbaum was going to kill him. Rosenbaum is on video saying, kill me. Rosenbaum is on video saying, I'm going to kill you. Rosenbaum is on video trying to blow up a gas station. We here in the, shout out to my good brother in the building. Good morning, brother. I know you at work. What you got to add, man?
I'm off work already. I just ran in, did a little house, and came on out.
Come on, man.
I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing else for the day. Like, I did this little job right here. No, I forgot. I gotta go do a little bit. Probably about 30 minutes or an hour of work.
Tree job, lazy boy.
Tree man. Yeah, but now this is the way I look at it. Okay, so we're saying the defense for Kyle is motioning for a mistrial because the prosecutor was withholding evidence, right?
Correct. I'll read the
now,
I'm gonna read the
I already heard. I heard all that, but I'm just saying.
I'm reading it for you. I'm not reading it for you. I'm reading it for the audience.
Go ahead. Oh, okay.
Rittenhouse defense team. No, it's all good. I know you know. It's a team. You know you on TV right now, right?
Yeah.
We be forgetting we TV stars, man. I'm reading it for the audience, man. You a TV star. Rittenhouse defense team files new motion for dismissal, alleging prosecution withheld key video evidence, providing small video file. Saying the prosecution withheld key video evidence, providing the defense with the small video file. Go in, She. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we here in the building. Make sure you subscribe.
Okay, my thing is this. There was no need for them to withhold that, right?
I agree. Why withhold that? Like Taylor Swift said, that was stupid. Why withhold that if you had it?
But it was intentional to where if everything falls bad, that's the get out of jail free card. The mistrial, that's the only way to have a mistrial. That's the only way to have a mistrial.
Sheed in the building. Shout out to Sheed, man. Hey, Beauty AN. Shout out to Beauty AN. Beauty AN said he's guilty. Beauty AN, the link is in the chat, man. Please join and let me know your preferred pronoun, and so I'll know how to respect you in the chat. Thank you for joining. Please hit the subscribe and make sure everybody in the chat vote in the poll. So Beauty, you got to vote in the poll. Let me know looks like it will. Oh, so wow. See, that's why you got to give people a chance. You got to respect people. Let me know your pronouns, Beauty, and you got to let people speak, because I can't jump to a conclusion simply because Beauty thinks that Kyle is guilty. Beauty also believes that the case may be dismissed as well. Please join the panel. Anybody, you're welcome in the chat. Let me know your proper pronoun. She, go in. Let me know how you feel. She, you are generating and inspiring people to join the team, man. Thank you.
Now, my thing is this. It's gonna go as a mystery. See, it's without a shadow of a doubt that the boy is guilty for his actions. His actions were already like, you're underage, but you're carrying a rifle for one. You once crossed state lines to protect something that you could have easily told the police that, hey, this property right here has been targeted. I think they're gonna break into it. So you might want to put extra eyes on this. That's notation to the cops, right? They even the owner, he could have said the owner himself, was he on the premise or around the premise where his shop was gonna be broken into? I have a right to protect my home, just like my business. I have a right to protect my business. Now, I can't go outside with my gun and waving but he could have said it in front of it. But the point of it was, I would have been in my store with the lights on, standing there with the gun in my hand if I was wanting to protect my store. So that's the first rule of thumb. With him and all those guys going there, they were vigilantes. The news already shows that a lot of people are getting shot and killed, you know, whether it been First Amendment right, stand your ground, friendly fire, whatever you want to name it all. There have been a lot of people getting shot, and under the grounds of stand your ground, they've been getting off on it. Whether even with an officer was there to right wrong, but by him being an officer, it was a defend a flight situation, and they took the approach to be aggressive. Now, you can't get mad at an officer for that because every day he puts his life on the line. Now, my thing with Kyle is, like I said, let's go back to it. He's too young for one to be walking around with a rifle. Had no training. He was pointing the gun up. Everybody knows if you do proper training, you're always supposed to keep your barrel down because accidents do happen. Never keep your hand on the trigger. Keep your gun on safety until you're gonna actually use it. When it gets hot, you keep it off of safety, but keep your finger away from the trigger. See, he wasn't taught this stuff. He came in like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty. His thing was hat turned to the back. He was having fun. Everybody seen the guy running around in videos having fun with an assault rifle. See, that's the Call of Duty coming out, that you're running around with a rifle. And then my thing was this: how did you get lost as a soldier? No man is left behind. So how did you get lost unless you wanted to leave these guys' premise? And this was your shield of protection because everybody you accompanied with had guns. The other people, you didn't know what they had. So for him to go out there vigilante by himself, he was looking for the trouble. I can give him that. Now, the videos we're stating, we can go if the guy meant to shoot or didn't meant to shoot. But the point of it is, if he would have never had the gun and he would have stayed in the state, three people would have never been injured. Two would have never died, one would have never injured. So that's first and foremost. So now, once we get to the case with them withholding the video, that was their fail safe because everything was looking in Kyle's favor for him to be going to jail. Everything was in his favor for him going to jail. All the
Saved directly to
videos.
the desktop of this computer. They need to be played through the VLC Media Player app. That is the only thing that the jury needs to know about it. I already have it brought up on the screen. VLC.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I say everything that he was brought up on, like the video that was showing him aggressing people, pointing guns, all that stuff should have been shown in there to show he was the aggressor in the situation. You can't claim self-defense as an aggressor. And for him, like I said, Everybody knew the outcome about this. All it took was one incident to turn this. Because without a shadow of doubt, I feel sorry that this young man was going to jail for the situation he did. He's young. To a point, you going to, if my child was going in that situation, my heart will be going out to him. But the point of it is, wrong is wrong. Whether my child, him, or any other child, wrong is wrong. If my child went out there and shot somebody, I would feel bad about him, but I wouldn't have no sleep. I wouldn't have no sleepless nights because I taught you better than that. That's what I said. See, for one, they should get him on the premise of having a gun. That should have been one of the charges. I heard they were trying to get that thrown out. The person who gave him the gun should be charged. No matter if they don't know who gave him the gun, we should go to all three. Where's the gun at? Who owns the gun? If they don't find the gun, point being, ask him and multiple people, and he's on the stand, who gave you the gun? Who issued you the gun? That was never asked. That was speculated, but it was never asked because he was under oath. He had to tell the truth. So you just walked up to the scene and said, oh, there's a gun there. Let me grab this and let's get started. Somebody issued him a gun. Military takes effect of that. When you get a gun, your gun is issued, that's your gun. Now, I can understand I wasn't on that last night because that was the first time ever I went to bed early. But yeah, man, when it came down to it, the last week I was on there, we were having a discussion, and the guys are coming over there trolling and doing all their things. Point being, that man, that young boy should have never been there from the jump, and none of this would have never occurred. You see the difference between other protesters and this one? How many people got shot at several other protests compared to this one? Even people who had guns that were on the scene. This wasn't the first incident that somebody came there to protect the store or do this. This was announced because of what happened afterwards. See, we have this argument that this kid is this and he took the stand to become a man that day when he picked up the gun to protect his uncle's store, so he said, or to go out there as a vigilante by himself with a rifle and shoot people. Even if he shot the first person that was trying to grab the gun, what were the other two shot for? See, that would have been my initial statement to the whole thing. I understand the premise of this guy grabbing your gun or, you getting into a tussle with him, but what were the other people shot for? Because knowing that you're in a crowd of people that have guns that don't have guns, what's the opportune thing that you're supposed to do to clear the air? Shoot in the air or shoot at the ground, preferably grass or dirt, to where the bullet goes through where it won't ricochet, right? So by him not even just shooting in the air to warn people to get away from him, we already know he wasn't properly trained. We already know he had intent. His intent was to shoot somebody. His intent was to get off because why? I see cops do it all the time. I see, other civilians get off like this all the time. In the name of what? Self-defense. Stand your ground. Let's go.
She in the building, she. Oh man, that was beautiful, man. I'm glad you came up with that opinion, man. It's like you're giving me a softball, a lob, so I could knock that thing out the park, man. I needed that information, man. Cause it's like, but I know you told me you went to dinner the other night, so you may have missed. I had a lot of the things you just said. I did some slam dunk coffin nails on a lot of the topics the other night, and it's a beautiful thing that we're able to talk about this because I can give pushback from the area where I've been coming from this whole case. So similar things could be said about R. Kelly, right? So what you've explained is what I relate to is bad acts. And not no offense to you, but I'm gonna go to a certain place with this. there's a certain thing with black men because of our relationship with the judicial system that we've been getting caught up with this. And I heard this on our panel with a lot of opinions, and that's why they were able to convict R. Kelly and Bill Cosby for bad acts versus what the law says you actually did. So it doesn't come down to our opinion and what we think is right and wrong and bad. It comes down to what you can prove in the law, which is why I believe Beauty said the case is probably going to get dismissed. So I don't hear that type of conversation with black men. Black men are seem to be caught up on the bad acts with Kyle. They were caught up with the bad acts with R. Kelly, but nobody was caught up on the facts of the case and what actually if R. Kelly broke a law and what actually can be proved by the law. So a couple of things you said, let me get pushed back on and debunk very quickly. So about Kyle, the thing that's been on YouTube and a lot of black YouTubers' mouth is, why did he cross state line? So a lot like with R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, the media creates a picture because they want you to hate someone and to formulate your opinion. But watch your Taco Tuesday is about the onion layers and going deeper in the story. So if you go deeper, what you find, and what I found with a lot of the non-black people who have came in the chat as I've watched the trial, they gave me a lot of information. I found information on my research. So one of the things I knew that Kyle said from his testimony, because I watched it and I showed it, is that his father lived in Kenosha, so he felt that he had residence. Binger actually challenged him on that several times. He said, why did you feel like you felt you were there? You're not a resident there. You don't belong there. You don't live there. And Kyle said, absolutely not. My father lives there. I am a resident there. That's why I felt like I should be there. That's the only reason I went there. I wouldn't have went there for no other reason. Now, when I brought this out in the chat, somebody also said that his grandparents lived there. That makes sense. If his father lives there, that it would make sense also that his father's parents lived there. His father may live with his parents after the divorce. We don't know what the details is, but I could intimate that a young 16, 17-year-old, he already had problems with violence in high school. He walked around with his gun. His mom brought him there. He might have some issues related to the divorce. You know what I'm saying? His dad might not be doing that good. You know what I'm saying? I've talked to you about the poverty in the Midwest. Dave Chappelle has talked to you about the poverty in the Midwest, but I'm speculating a lot. So all we know right now, just to address some of the things that's been said, is that Kyle did, from Kyle's perspective, and from my perspective as being a weekend dad, and if you look at Trayvon Martin case, because the thing happened in the Trayvon Martin case, they didn't give Trayvon Martin the benefit of the doubt of being a resident. They gave Zimmerman the benefit of the doubt, even though he was told not to pursue him, and he was not supposed to be a neighborhood watch. And Trayvon Martin had residency there because his father lived there. But this weekend dad bullshit, this fucking baby mama bullshit, this fucking divorce bullshit, that's why it's all about father power. So if you're talking to a father who has weekend dad privileges, then I'm going to say he had residency in Kenosha because his dad lived there. He visited his dad there. So he had a reason to be there and feel like ownership for that place, especially if you're 16-year-old and you want to live with your dad. You really feel like you want to protect this area, and your grandparents feel there. So that's number one to the saying he crossed state lines and he shouldn't be there. So number two, about the gun. So your other thing that I presented in my video yesterday is the fact that the judge, right before closing arguments, dismissed the gun. I was lucky enough to speak to my father yesterday. He called me during my live stream, and I called him back when the live stream was over. And my dad was frustrated about it too. He said those two same things, that he crossed the state line with a gun. And I explained to my dad the two things I'm explaining to you. That number one, his dad lived there, that his parents were divorced, that he felt like that was his home because he was estranged from his father. I come to learn that his grandparents lived there also. And then that the judge himself, not the defense, but the judge dismissed the gun based on a loophole in the law that the defense found, saying that because Kyle was a certain age at time and the length of the barrel, that in order for the gun to be illegal, Kyle needed to be younger than 16, and he would have had to violate a certain hunting ordinance because it is Kenosha, Wisconsin, and it is Second Amendment. It's actually legal to have a gun, legal to have a rifle. What he had was not an actual AR. It was actually an MP. So it's made to resemble the AR, but it was not an AR. So it was actually an MP. That did not come up on Art's panel. No one else has brought up these facts, see, but that's why I'm perfect timing. You know what I'm saying? So it was not an actual AR. It was an MP modeled to look like the AR that was built for military use, but it was simply a rifle, and the rifle wasn't long enough to qualify under those certain laws. So the judge was able to throw the rifle out because of his age, and it didn't. This law says if you got to be 18 without this hunting license, or below 16 without this hunting license. So the loophole exists for 17-year-olds, which is, you could say, fortuitous, a blessing from God. I don't know how you want to look at it, but if it was my son, I would look at this as a blessing from God, because I'm like, I couldn't write the law like that. And for some reason, the law was written that way, and my son was 17 when these people lost their life. So the gun was justly thrown out. De facto of whether or not you believe the law was written unjustly. So you got two things: the gun being dismissed and Kyle Rittenhouse actually having residency in Kenosha. So beyond that, what do you have left, She, that the individuals may have not shared with you, that I've been sharing with people on the panel via my video and via my research that me and Son Claw pointed out when we first showed the video? You have the background of the individuals who lost their life, because she said what happened as far as him getting lost. Why did these individuals get hurt? Why did they die? Why did nobody else shot? Well, there are great answers to that. There are actually great, logical, realistic answers to that. And the answer is that these were all mental health victims. It speaks to other things we talked about on this panel about the homelessness. So what we found out in video and testimony, that one of the guys that got out of mental health for trying to kill himself or somebody else, and he joined the protest to kill and to cause melee. Rosenbaum himself, 36, had raped a child and had raped other people, and probably should have been met his end in prison, and probably would later on. These are the people. So what actually took place that night? If you ask me, if you look at the video, these bad actors people who came to kill and blow up, just like in past, because a lot of people took advantage of this opportunity when it was supposed to be about Jacob Blake, when it was supposed to be about, Tamir Rice. A lot of people who were non-black took advantage of this opportunity to loot and to cause damage. So when it should have been about Jacob Blake, these individuals took advantage to cause problems. And when they saw a child, in my opinion, Rosenbaum, if you look in the video, saw the whites of Kyle's eyes, knew he was scared, saw the baby face, saw the cheeks, knew he was 17. Each of these guys, they wanted the gun so they could run around with the gun and cause havoc. Kyle was on film putting out fires, handing out Band-Aids, doing good defense, which is why he has privilege to Rosenbaum. But these clowns is on camera saying, kill me, I'ma kill you, trying to blow up a gas station. So the reason why they ended up dead, and unlike any other situation, because these people were mental health, really bad people looking for this type of end. Just like when we grew up in the hood, or we know certain people who be looking to get killed, these guys were actually looking to be killed or kill. He's on camera saying, kill me. And to that effect, he sought out his death that night. And it was unfortunate what took place. It really was. But that's my rebuttal, man. You're welcome to come back, man. What you got on it, G?
All right, for one, the judge throwing the gun out about him and the rifle. Okay, let's play it. For one, they had to measure that barrel to indicate that even though it was an MP and it made like an AR. Now, AR rifles have to be a certain length, or look to be a certain length in this case. If they measured the barrel properly, that barrel was the guidelines, in my opinion, from just sight, even with the butt stock and all that, and the little compressor over the front, grounds for that to be the longer rifle style for an AR-15. So the shorter barrel would be a P9. Now, if that was the case, let's go out with the barrel style. Where was his hunting license? Because technically speaking, if we were going on the grounds of that, he would literally have to have hunting license in order for it not to be a violation. Am I right? That's the whole point. If he was 17, that was the grounds for him to walk around and tote that gun with license. He had to have hunting license because that was the catch. Typically, when you have younger kids or anybody, they have training and a license to carry. By him being 17, he's still able to get a hunting license. So we can dance around him not having license or having license, but the fact of the matter is him not having license stating that he was not actually permitted to carry that gun. All right, we're gonna go into that. And dealing with the guys, they've been bringing up this argument all the time, and I laugh at it because the argument is these guys had mental issues about Rosenberg, doing what he did, served his time. That goes against the court. The court. If if I did something, I need to serve my time, and be back let back into society as a responsible, you know, person that went to jail for committed, serve their time, come back out and be accepted in society. It doesn't work like that, but that's supposed to be the standard. And we're gonna get that across the board. No, it's not about a race thing. It's about just in general, you serving your time and getting out for it. Now, let's go into the fact of the matter that Rittenhouse and the other guys were coming at him saying, kill me. True. You have a young guy who has a gun. 9 times out of 10, you can see, just like you said, that he seen the fear in his eyes. He knew in the intent, in the struggle, that this young guy might kill him. And noting to self that he's already going crazy, or have issues, say the least, he's been in a mental. What will be the first thing come out your mouth if you've been in a mental institution and you knew these things could occur or things might happen to you? You're going to announce, go ahead and shoot me, am I right? Because that's the type of mentality you have. You have one of those crave or crazy, as they call it, mentalities to where you don't care. And in that instant, that's what happened. He came with the mentality of not caring because why? He wanted to get the gun from this young guy. Okay, let's go to the other guy. No, the other guys having their guns and talking, I guess doing what they doing. Okay, the other guy was released from a mental hospital, wanted to hurt himself and hurt others. And they were going there, like you said, with the intent to hurt and do other things to people. Why was Kyle the only person that they did something to if they were going there with that intent? Because soon as the crowd got escalated and got started, what was their prime reason was for going there and do that? They would have started after even right when it first jumped off and the crowds got big, they could have did it then. Of course, they were going there to do one thing and one thing only: loot. That was their main objective. That's what most people who are coming to these protesters, if they're not coming to protest, they're coming to loot. That's the prime opportunity for you to go take something, destroy something, and people who have mental, excuse me, issues, where are they bent on? Letting off a little aggression. They want to let off some aggression, some steam, where I can go vandalize and break something and not be in trouble for it. This is the place to do it at. This is where I'm not going to be, kind of forced into something. It's just going to be is what it is. If I go out here
Well,
and bust a window, who's going to say
things.
something?
That's two different things. Are they looting or are they busting the window? Because that's two different things. Are they looting or are they stealing or are they busting the window?
Okay,
Because
well, when
it
you
These individuals were not looking to steal. They were not looking to loot. If you look at the video at the gas station, they were lighting fires. They were looking to damage property. They were trying to blow up a gas station. That's why Kyle Rittenhouse had a fire extinguisher. When the police officer testified on the stand, he was a war zone. They had lost control of the city. They is actually assigning those guys, it was 12 of them, to different areas of the city to be outposts and to be protection. These individuals, they were trying to create another Chaz. That is the lack of context that we don't have. So at this time, we had a Chaz. We had already lost an American city. See, in retrospect, this is why SunCloud Oz talked about the statute of limitations and why they tried black man so quickly and why they tried other people of non-color so 3 years down the line, like police officers is never right when the person gets shot. You notice that the police officer will never go on trial till 3 or 4 or 5 years later when everybody's calmed down, and what will convict the officer is the evidence, and it will come down to what you can prove in a court of law. They never go to court right away because they don't want to be convicted in a court of opinion. It always comes down to what you can prove in the court of law. These people were bad actors. They were not looting. Nobody got film in any store being robbed. There was no stores around there. They were only out there to hurt people and to damage property. And these individuals specifically were there to do that because of their mental health. I'm not saying that they should be held accountable for it, but it's like me and you have children. So if something would have happened to my child and it was vice versa and Rosenbaum was alive, and come to find out that Rosenbaum had did what he did to children before, then I would have a motherfucking problem with that. I would have a motherfucking problem with that. And nobody could tell me that I couldn't take into account who the fuck this motherfucker was. And nobody could tell me to take into account that he was there on the side of Black Lives Matter. Get the fuck out of here. He was not there for Black Lives Matter. He was there and he picked on Kyle because he's a fucking child, because he's a motherfucking child predator. That's what the fuck he was. And that's why the fuck he not here. And that's the fucking honest truth, bro. That's the fucking honest truth. You could speculate about why Kyle was there. You could get into the parental things about it. But the only reason that that person is not here no more is because of who he was. Not because Kyle was running around shooting everybody. He engaged somebody with a gun. That's poor decision making. And he engaged the child with a gun purposely. Before that, he was trying to blow up a gas station because they wanted to take over the city. They knew they had the city at a point where they had the cops on the run. They wanted to take over the city because you got to ask yourself, what would be the point of blowing up the gas station? What happens if you blow up the gas station? You're going to take away so many resources. Now we're going to take over the city. We can take over a police station. They had a plan. There was a method to their madness. There was a reason why they wanted to blow up the gas station. They had already put out fires.
Speculate. Okay.
They got this.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was just gonna go on the jump kick, man.
Yeah, my thing with the speculating is this. For one, if Rosenberg who wasn't who he was, and he was just the average Joe with a clean record, could you say that? See, everything is on the premise of who he is. No.
Yes.
Everything is on the premise of who this man was.
No, it's not. It's because who he is comes into play because of his actions. That's what my point is, and that's what the court, and that's what the law would say, and that's what you would say if he had hurt one of your children. Who he is comes into play because of his actions, because a normal individual who was there for Jacob Blake would not have attacked the child and would not have grabbed a gun. And that is why, and you know what, Sheed, you just did this whole time you've been talking, you've been making my points. I love you for that. That speaks directly to why the prosecution withheld the videotape. Because we are talking about the very videotape. We are talking about, because if what you are saying is true, then there's no need to give a small black and white file, because the color file shows what I am showing, and the white YouTubers have exposed that this guy is a bad actor, and he saw out Kyle. Why would he do that if he was there was for Jacob Blake? Why would he attack this young man and make him kill him? Because that's what happened. You know why? Because he's on camera 5 minutes prior saying, kill me, kill me, kill me. So he attacked the young boy who he knew would be scared and would have no choice to either shoot or get the gun. And if this crazy motherfucker, if you see the video, would have got the gun, he not only would have killed Kyle, he would have killed other people because he was out of it. They was out of it, just like when we young, and just like with the Central Park 5, when them young niggas was running through the park and got crazier every 5 minutes. I've been in that type of melee. You be high off the environment and the ability to do what you want to do. So they just running around, jumping around, destroying shit, kicking shit, and lighting shit on fire, getting high off the protest, getting high off the goddamn rampage. He's dead because of his actions, and his past comes into play because you have to think the state of mind. And because it's not about how we feel. It comes down to what you can prove in the court of law, which is why he was in charge with first degree for Rosenbaum. It comes down to state of mind. Why would this person attack someone with a gun? No one in their right mind would do that. No reasonable protester who was there for Black Lives Matter and Jacob Blake would do that. Nobody was being reasonable that night.
So what was, like you said, what was his reason for attacking him, right? Because he was a child, he was young, you know, he was trying to get the gun from him, right?
He was crazy.
He wasn't crazy.
He was crazy. He was on tape 5 minutes prior to that saying, kill me. Rosenbaum, the bald guy. I showed the videotape. You could go back. I'm not going to show it now because it takes too long to bring it up. But he was on videotape in the gas station yelling, saying, kill me. Kill me. I'm on you. He lived that out. On this podcast, we talked about attitude and positive affirmations and manifesting and saying things and that your reality. You talk about that same thing. I've been in the street with niggas saying, I'm going to kill somebody or I'm going to die. That shit, you manifest that shit. He was in the fucking gas station, hella excited, hella fired up, screaming, you jumping at people with guns, yelling, kill me, kill me. He was on that tip, bro. He was on that type of time. He manifested his reality. And when he did that shit to a 17-year-old, like you said, without training, boy, he shot. And he dead now. And
exactly,
it's unfortunate.
Because he had, out of all the other people who could have shot him, he was the only one. That's what I'm expressing. Why are the other people with guns who's by him?
No, Rosenbaum singled him out.
You proved my point.
This is the thing. So this is the thing that I saw on my podcast last night. If I'm being a sensitive dude, the only thing I could find Kyle guilty of is second-degree reckless. And second-degree reckless, as the court says, that Kyle had a right to respond, but he responded with overdue force, meaning that he could have shot him, but if he had proper training, that the guy wouldn't have died. So that I believe that Kyle had a right to defend himself, that he was defending himself, but I believe that the fact that he killed somebody was wrong. So I would, if I'm being sensitive, if I'm in my feelings, like you say, if I'm in my feelings, then find him guilty of second-degree reckless, and he would still be home in 2 years, because that would say that Kyle had a right to be there because of his dad. Kyle was defending himself, but Kyle shouldn't have had a gun, and Kyle shouldn't have shot and killed these individuals. Now, because Kyle had a gun and someone died, you got to have a punishment for that, Kyle. But I agree that you had a right to be there. I agree with you defending yourself, but you shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have had a gun. And if you had been trained properly, these people might not be dead. So the best I could do, if I'm being sensitive and I'm ignoring some of the points like this video, is second-degree manslaughter reckless. You see what I'm saying? How do you can't get the first with the jury instructions. You can't get the first degree because Rosenbaum attacked him and he was defending himself. And the judge said, and the law says, if he's defending himself at all, if he's defending himself at all that night, then he's not guilty of first degree in anything, bro.
But
that's just the
this
fact.
Is the thing. How was he defending himself with the situation at hand? That's what I keep trying to express to you.
Rosenbaum attacked him. That's why this conversation is so relevant. Rosenbaum attacked him. Rosenbaum attacked him to the point that he was not charged with first degree for Rosenbaum. That's what makes this a coffin nail. But there's more. There's more. You know what else? It makes this a coffin nail? That the prosecution withheld evidence on the Rosenbaum death. There was already enough evidence. This is what I'm saying. There was already enough evidence to show that Rosenbaum's death could not be charged as a first-degree murder, but that wasn't enough for the prosecution. After that, they further withheld evidence. Why, Sheed? Why would they further withhold evidence? That is what I'm talking about.
All right. So, for one, they withheld evidence, I told you earlier, to make this a mistrial. That's what you're not getting. They're trying to make this a mistrial. See, if all else failed,
Rosenbaum had already reached the burden where Kyle had privilege. Rosenbaum had already reached the burden where Kyle had privilege. They could have did something else. So to withhold on Rosenbaum, I can't accept that they would try to throw the case by withholding evidence on Rosenbaum, because they had already lost in Rosenbaum before the trial started.
okay, I'm gonna show you how easy and simple this is. They're just gonna go through this. Let's take Philando Castile. With all the evidence we've seen about Philando, why was that officer found innocent? He asked Philando for his ID. He told him before he reached for the ID, I have a gun and I have a permit. Now, my thing is, when you seen him reaching and you seen the gun where he was reaching in that pocket where the gun was, what was the first assumption? He said, stop, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right? You heard the clips. Now, it could have been an easy, okay, he reached for a gun, put his wallet, my bad, I shot him, I was wrong. But taking it to the extent, if all else fails, that officer still had a fail mechanism. That's why if you listen to now the court case, they took out the part where they asked him for his license. All they showed was the edited version of him talking to him, and he went reaching for his gun, and then you heard him put it, hey, stop. So basically, like, I warned him once we were talking, and he still proceeded. Even in the back of the car, you seen him. That was the whole thing. That edited version was to say, well, this was edited because no matter if he told him to reach for his wallet or not, the officer didn't know that the wallet was in there. That's why most people use edited versions to get precise to the point. Now, they got that precise to the point. The actual part, what they needed was that scene. Now, by them doing black and white and all this other stuff, that was a mishap on their end. The whole full length of video, they could have gave them that, but they gave them the edited version of what they said. Now, as the defense, they should have said, well, where's the whole video? This is all you have. If they said yes, cool, there you go. But they never asked for it. See, the judge, I mean, not judge, but lawyers and all of them, they play these shiesty games like this. We know it. We know as well as anybody else that if you don't ask the proper questions, you're not getting the proper answer. Now, I'm going to go back to Kyle. We can go through this all day with Kyle. Kyle had a record just like Rosenbrook. Kyle had a record of misbehaving, destruction, bullying, all on his school record and on his what's called record outside of school. His civilian record. You know, Kyle was not a good kid. Kyle had so much bad intent in him. So being that if we say that this was going on, true, let it be, his intent was same as Rosenbluth. You seen him pointing a gun at people on those videos. What was his intent? To protect or to point a gun and go in fear? That was his intent the whole way. Kyle, if you seen the video, did you or did you not see a video of Kyle pointing a gun at civilians and protesters or whoever? They were not Rosenberg, they were not the other guy he killed or the other guy he wounded. Why was he raising his gun at people walking down the street? Give me that.
He did not. He did
Yes, he
not raise
did.
his gun. He did not. That was a bet that they went back and forth on that in the court. I watched the video for hours. We played it. I got an 8-hour stream up. That was one of the things with Binger and the defense went back and forth. Binger wanted to say they had a video of when it was slightly raised because and I showed an article yesterday when he had the gun pointed, was only able to pinpoint one time when he had the gun raised, but he wasn't able to prove in court that the gun was raised any other time. What he was able to prove that when he finally raised the gun at the time he shot Rosenbaum is that he tried to say that he insisted Rosenbaum raising the gun. But no other time were they able to prove that he raised the gun. I showed that in court.
Because all that was, I keep telling you.
I'm listening, said that's not true, Perfect. Tell me specifically because I was watching the case here. I remember the argument in the court where the gun was slightly raised and the judge did not allow that. I know you guys feel that way, but the judge did not allow that to be admitted in court. The only time it was allowed to say he raised the gun is when I showed the article yesterday where a prosecutor Binger had the gun in his arms and he made the example during closing because he would not let him do that during arguments. During closing, he had a gun in his hand and he said he raised the gun at Rosenbaum and he excited the crowd by raising the gun. That was the only time the judge allowed him to say that he raised the gun. That was in closing. But he did not allow him to say that he was walking around pointing the gun at people. That would have changed the trial and that would have changed the charges. And that's
exactly.
What the prosecution,
that's the whole reason.
Right. True. That's true.
And the judge was on his side the whole time. Come on now. We can go.
Judge was.
Like I said.
The judge
you
was.
said, and you know the judge was on his side. But my thing is this. Facts to facts. Judges have to be biased. Judges have to be biased. Let alone that judge being biased about in the favor of Kyle. This case should have been dismissed.
The judge does not have to be biased.
Went to another.
This is what I like about this trial, because we're learning something about the court and about the members and the parties and what roles that they play. The judge is not supposed to be biased. The judge is supposed to make sure that me and you are innocent until proven guilty, and he makes sure that the prosecution has the burden of proof. The judge is there to make sure that I have a fair and speedy trial. The judge is not supposed to be impartial. Right? We don't want the judge to be impartial. I want the judge to be advocating for me and my rights. That he's there and he did his job this time. If the prosecution stepped over the line, the judge is supposed to say, hey, that's a foul. You get back on your side. You get back on your side because Dennis sent until proven guilty and the burden is on you. Dennis does not have to prove his innocence. Kyle, this the thing I need everybody. This because if we get this, then we get this with R. Kelly. We get this with Bill Cosby. I don't care. I'm not gonna say that. My thing is not about Kyle. My thing is about black men and boys. My son. But if we get this, then we can get that within. It's Kyle does not have to prove his innocence. You understand what I'm saying? Kyle does not have to prove his innocence. The state has to prove his guilt. And that's the perversion of the conversation that black men are having online. Kyle does not have to prove his innocence. The state has to prove their guilt in every argument on the art panel, and even you, she, and I love you, does not reach the level of conviction. It just doesn't. And if we can get that, then what I am trying to say is that, what I am not trying, but what I am saying is that that is the level that all black boys deserve. All black boys deserve the same justice that Kyle is getting. That is what I'm saying.
Come on now. You know as well as I know. You went through the system. This country is built on racism. For you to sit here in favor of Kyle getting off, to say that my son gonna get that same treatment is asinine. It's complete. It's not.
No, I'm not
It's not.
saying. I'm not saying. No, but both is asinine. I'm not saying that my son will get the treatment, but to pretend like Kyle is not privy to white privilege and that somehow he gonna get found guilty is asinine also. So what I have done intelligently is begin to exacerbate the situation and show the hypocrisy. Because I know what's going to happen. I predicted it since day one, and everything I predicted in the trial has happened because there are two systems. So what I have chosen to do is show the contrast. Show the contrast and see to the world that what Kyle is receiving is not undue justice, but the same justice that all black men and Trayvon Martin didn't get, that Tamir Rice didn't get, that Khalil Castile didn't get, that Ahmaud Arbery's not getting. They're not getting a judge like Schroeder. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly did not get a judge like Schroeder. I said King Kong Kung Fu. I said the prosecution in the Bill Cosby and R. Kelly cases was allowed to be creative in ways that this Judge Schroeder would have never allowed this prosecution to be. Judge Schroeder would have never allowed certain evidence and testimony that was allowed in the Bill Cosby and R. Kelly case. That's what I want. I want an example made out of Judge Schroeder. I want an example being made out of Kyle Rittenhouse trial. That this is judge is what Bill Cosby should have gotten, right? Bill Cosby should have got a judge like Schroeder. And when they wanted to bring in 5 people with uncorroborated stories, he would have said no. That's against his Fifth Amendment. That's against his rights. But they didn't. They over Bill Cosby rights, and they had to overturn and vacate the case because they didn't have a judge like this. And black men don't get judges like this. And I'm not saying they will, but in my opinion, if we highlight these things in the case, that's how we make those changes. That's how now, when we have this conversation in the barbershop, we can not only say that there's 2 different systems, we can now actually show. We can actually show what happens to a non-person of color in the judicial system. Before now, we didn't have the contrast. And I even showed an article last night that made me feel really good, where it was a black protester that said, the key thing about this trial is the contrast between how blacks and whites are treated in the judicial system. That's what I want to show, that they get full breath of the law, and we don't. What you got on it, man?
Like I said, sticking to the topic of the actual case, Kyle had a record. Kyle did his thing, and just as Rosa and all them came with the intent, Kyle had intent too. Kyle was not proper trained. Kyle shouldn't have even been there. For the likeness of Kyle to, do what he did and get away with the stuff he got away with, to me, it's just like I said, it's just too crazy. Like, how was he able to get away and do all the stuff he did without, first of all, finna get ready to have a mistrial and be judged? Like, to me, that's already wrong.
Because they've been able to prove different than what they see. That's the same thing happened with Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, that the media put out this thing, and that's what you're repeating, that's what took place. But they were able to prove different in the way, and I agree with their summations based on the video footage that I watched. They were able to prove that Kyle was there in a protective capacity. Kyle spoke to police 3 times that night. Kyle's on video passing out water, putting out fires, and passing out Band-Aids. There is not footage of Kyle of doing anything that is a bad act. There's only footage of Kyle being helpful and following the orders of the police.
Man.
A lot of people want to say that Kyle came there with intent, but there is no proof to that. That's all. That is to make you upset. That's to get you in your feelings. In the court cases about what you can prove, there is no video. There is no testimony that Kyle was a bad actor. Everybody that testified said, I saw Kyle pass out water. I saw Kyle with a fire extinguisher. I saw Kyle pass out Band-Aid. Once they established that Kyle was there in that capacity, the debate is over from there. He was there to help. And then beyond that, they were able to establish that he was defending himself against Rosenbaum. Everything else is just people going off of hearsay and rumors in the media. What was able to be proved in court? So in court, they talked about that. And the judge was like, what can you prove? We need to be able to prove that Kyle was there in the capacity that you say. Show me evidence that Kyle came there to kill and hurt people. They could not show that. The only evidence they could show is that Kyle had a fire extinguisher, passed out Band-Aids, and water. Other than that, we on this platform, we can talk about what maybe have been. Only thing that was able to be proved in court was that Kyle was there to defend Kenosha because his father and grandparents live in the city. Nothing else can be proved. Everything else is conjecture. Even if we feel like it ain't right, the only thing that can be proved is that he was helpful that night.
Okay.
And we can prove that.
I was gonna say,
Go ahead, bro.
by my understanding, wasn't Kyle dad passed? Didn't he die?
I don't know if that has a bearing on whether or not he felt like he had residency there. I mean, would you still feel like that was your hometown if your dad and your grandparents lived there and you visited your dad there every weekend and your grandparents still lived there? I don't think that matters.
That was the grounds for him protecting that right because of residency.
Right.
That was the
Still
ground.
say yes. I don't believe that takes away from his residency there. His father doesn't have to be alive, especially if you go to the fact that his father may be buried there. If my daddy is buried there, that's my home forever, right?
Nah.
My daddy is. Come on, my daddy is buried there. I might own land there. That's how the cowboy movie go. My daddy from Kenosha. I'm from Kenosha. I'm the Kenosha kid. My daddy buried in Kenosha. I got a land I inherited from my daddy in Kenosha. You inherited from your daddy, right? Come on, come on. I know you might not agree with me, but you know I'm right. You inherited from your daddy, right? You inherit your daddy's last name. If he had any land from his father, if his father gave him anything, yeah, he's from Kenosha. I'm the Kenosha kid. Why you from the Kenosha kid? Because my daddy was born and raised and he buried on that mountain in Kenosha. Well, shit, I can't argue that. You the Kenosha kid. Your daddy buried on the mountain in Kenosha, and that's your house. Why is that yours? Because that was my daddy's house. Who gonna argue that he from Kenosha? Come on, man. And my grandparents, who birthed my daddy, who went to high school here, lived down the street. Let's not even debate. He don't got a right to be there. Let's throw all that out. Let's throw that out. We'll throw that out. Grandparents, daddy, dead or alive, throw all that out. Come on, bro. If I just went to see my grandparents one time.
But there the goals. You're giving a what if category to label, because if his dad was buried dead or alive, he has grounds to be there. That's a what if. If he's from Kenosha, that's a what if. We're speculating because he's not from there. Even if his dad was there, let's say he was born in Kenosha. Let's give it that
He's
point.
16.
If he was,
where is he from? Where is he from? I can see if we were debating this as a grown man where you need to have a residence with your own address. But he's 16. He a child. He could technically
and his residence
say
is wherever his parents are. Come on, don't make that argument. His residence is where his parents are, and his parents who's the legal. Once again, who's the legal guardian? That's his mother. Come on now. Let's be technical about it, because
I'm a weekend dad. Okay. I'm a weekend dad. So if I'm paying child support, if I'm paying for this boy, if this boy is visiting me, then damn it, he got residency. I get to claim him 50-50 on my taxes.
Do you claim him on taxes?
No, I don't.
Nope. Like I said, it's not 50-50. Come on now. Don't have the argument to where it's beneficial to where it helps your argument. No, let's go strictly with the facts.
That's what I'm doing. I'm about to win. I'm trying to win the debate. See, of course, I'm supposed to present the argument so it favors me. And this is the thing about this particular argument is that this argument has fairly been left up to the jury. Me and you both have presented compelling arguments, and that's what they did in court. And this is going to the jury as it should. As it stands now, the question of his residency went to the jury. That was not established in court. Both sides got to argue just like me and you did, and that's up to the jurors. So I respect you, bro. You're very intelligent. You're an excellent debater. That's exactly what happened in court. She presented some excellent points as far as the residency of Kyle Rittenhouse. And that's what took place in court. It's up to the juries and it's up to the jurors in the audience. Make sure y'all vote in the poll. Let me know if the case should be dismissed. It's up to you. And it's up to the juries in the jury box on that particular point. They get to decide whether or not Kyle had an appropriate reason for being there. They get to decide whether or not Kyle was truly defending himself. So that's a good argument. So that's up to the jury. It's one of the things that were left up to the jury. The judge did not make a ruling on whether or not Kyle had residence. That was left up to the jury, and he allowed the prosecution to probe him on his logic and his thinking, and he let the jury hear his logic. So if the jury said, "Oh, that's bullshit," the jury heard Kyle say the same thing I said, and the jury could disagree with Kyle. Bingham asked him 3 times, "Why do you think you didn't deserve to be there?" Kyle said, "My dad lived there," and Bingham went at him again. So the jury's going to be able to decide whether or not that Kyle was being truthful and whether or not Kyle had a right to be there in the residency, and that's the way the court work. That's the way it should work.
If they don't get this thing dismissed, Kyle's going to jail. I'm gonna tell you that now. He going to jail.
No, you're not. Oh, everybody vote. Everybody vote. She said Kyle going. What y'all think, man? Vote with that, man. Kyle ain't going, whole man. Thing,
if they trying to get everything in his favor, that's why I told you that was their only straw. Because everything looks that he's going to jail, no matter all the arguments stating, for one, Kyle shouldn't have been there. Kyle should have never had that gun. My thing is, why wasn't any other person killed? That's the whole thing. If there were other people shot, killed, or something, Kyle could have easily got off because they would have been like, okay, you seen the other person 2 blocks over, he shot somebody in defense. These people going crazy. They had mayhem. They were everywhere. In adrenaline rush, people do actually have that adrenaline of being rowdy. So you had the guy said, "Kill me." He was yelling, "Kill me." Why did he yell, "Kill me"? Because of the rush of the surrounding of his environment. If I'm in an environment gulped in flames, what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna die anyway.
That's what I said. That's my point. I said that. You making my point. That's what I said.
But the point of it is there was no reason for Kyle to say, "I'm gonna grant your wish." And that's what Kyle did. Because nobody knows what the talk that they were saying leading up to the point where he shot him.
But now you speculating. Because Kyle didn't say, "I'm going to grant your wish." Because
no, that's what I'm saying.
Happened, this is what I'm saying. Because according to the way the case was charged, this is where we got to stick to the facts. According to the way the case was charged, Rosenbaum attacked him. You understand what I'm saying? That's not my speculation. So me and you just debated over whether or not he had residency there. But this is where the panel and where we got to be, me and you in this panel, we got to be different than other people. By the way he was charged, we can't debate that. He was attacked because in the 26-year-old's death, he was degree. But in Rosenbaum, he was charged with second-degree reckless and given privilege to defense because he was attacked. So we can't say in this topic, because we both intelligent men, that Kyle tried to grant Rosenbaum's will. No, because even to the charges, Rosenbaum attacked Kyle. And that's not a fake, because that's the way the case was charged. That Kyle was defending himself when Rosenbaum was killed. That's the way the charges are laid out. You can make that argument with the other guy, but I would dispute that too.
That was my whole thing. Like I said, even with the other guy, being shot. Why did Kyle shoot him? What was his reason for shooting him?
Let's talk about something else.
See, self-defense. Self-defense,
Oh,
right?
shit.
See, that's what I said.
So look. This is where you could really go in on the judge. This is where I lose all my new white viewers right here, because the way the jury instructions are written, and I said when I first showed it, and this is why I said about the contrast, and some of the shit is not fair. Life ain't fair. The way that I said this would come down to the jury instructions, and the way the jury instructions are so convoluted and confusing, the judge got confused when he read them. The prosecutor in closing told the jurors to go back and reread them because they are so confusing. But basically what it comes down to, that if you find that Kyle had privilege to defense in any of the cases, which I find weird, which is why the judge got confused, because we charged him with second degree for one of them, which means he has privilege, which means he's already off. So why are we having a trial? Which is why the defense said we should dismiss the case in the beginning. The judge said find that Kyle defended himself in any way that at night you find him guilty of first degree murder. So I think that right there is like the coffin nail for the way things were set up. He said that despite what happened with the 26-year-old, if you find defending himself in the other death, then you can't find him guilty of first degree murder in the subsequent event. And it's because the whole night is one thing. Either he's bad in, bad out, or he's not. And the judge said there's no second chance. If you don't find him guilty of that, then he go home. This boy go home. And it comes down to the jury instructions, because he did defend himself against Rosenbaum. And now, so this might be where you could put in your they wanted the case to be thrown out, because now the relevancy of the videotape comes into play even more. Even more, because the case comes down to self-defense and privilege. This is what I said the other night. The case comes down, just like Zimmerman, just like all the other cases, the case comes down to, did Kyle possess privilege to self-defense? Stand ground. That's what it comes down to. If you believe that, he goes home. So for them to withhold the video in the one instance where he may have had privilege to stand your ground, that then Sheed's argument is valid, because that don't look good. That don't look good at all. I'm on live, baby. What we eating? This is Brenda on the phone, y'all. I got yeah. Come on, jerk. Okay, don't then. Bye, man. You being in. I'm showing up. I'm okay. Okay. What's up? She back. Okay, baby. I'll see you in a minute. What do I want to eat? I'm on live right now. I made oatmeal, didn't eat the oatmeal yet. Yeah, I was gonna shut down.
Yeah,
Why
go ahead
not?
and
Come
shut
on,
down.
man.
We had our case. Go on and shut down.
Yeah, I was gonna shut down. Come on, man. I was gonna shut down.
She
All right,
win. We had our case. All right.
she win, baby. She win.
Yeah. Yeah. The underboss already let you know who is. Go ahead, shut down, because she win.
Y'all, I'm gonna shut it down. I'll be back later, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, baby.